This is the shocking moment that two men who shot a man who was playing football in the face went to a chicken shop after and literally just got some chicken and chips, like nothing had just happened. Their victim James' life was taken at point blank range in Birmingham suburb after being called over to a stolen car by the two men, Ty and Sean. The 20-year-old victim had just returned from the gym and went to the driver's seat window where Ty Blake was sitting in the passenger seat and pulled the trigger on it. Both the defendants from Birmingham left their victim lying in the street and got rid of the gun before heading to a chicken shop. They purchased food and consumed it within 30 minutes of James's death, showing no signs of emotion, Detective Chief Inspector Scott from West Midlands Police said. There was absolutely no callous in relation to how they carried out this attack. At this part in the CCTV, the defendant's using tissue to dab blood from his lip that split when the gun ricocheted into his face after he pulled the trigger. It was said that the young men targeted James Teer in relation to a fight that Miles had had in Birmingham nightclub around a week before. Mr. Teer was not directly involved in that, very much on the periphery, but it appears Miles and Blake were intent on causing serious harm to anyone linked to that group. Sadly, James was the first person they came across that day. CCTV earlier in that day shows Miles in a BMW that they had stolen. He picks up Blake and the pair head off with a sawn off shotgun, intent on taking lives. Noise of the gun blast that took James's life was actually picked up on a security camera nearby the scene. It was that much of a powerful shot. Like I said at the start, it was a powerful weapon that ricocheted and actually damaged the face. You can see him throughout the CCTV at the beginning holding his lip. It ricocheted into his face. He's obviously not used to dealing with a weapon that powerful. The tissue he's using to dab blood from his lip that split when the gun ricocheted into his face would prove his downfall, as they found DNA on the tissue in their getaway car. At their trial, both men accepted being in the car during the incident, but both accused each other of pulling the trigger. It was later revealed that a thug paid the men £550 to take part in the execution of this well-loved man. The man on the screen, Ty Blake, is the man that pulled the trigger in this brutal incident, but it was revealed that he shouldn't have even been roaming the city at the time because he was arrested in connection with another incident that happened to a student on February 2019. The victim on that occasion was beaten up and left for dead and had his £1,000 coat stolen before his bank card was used to buy booze. Blake, 19, was later charged with fraud and handling stolen goods. Although detectives were frustrated, there was not enough DNA evidence to prosecute him for robbery. But all charges relating to the incident were dropped last October by the Crown Court Prosecution Service by the time the teenager was already in custody over Mr. Teer's murder. The student he had targeted before age 20 said his life collapsed when the case fell apart and he was forced to quit his part-time job at Nando's and university course. And he claimed that Mr. Teer's passing could have potentially been averted had Blake been prosecuted over this attack on him. The student also said he tracked down CCTV footage which showed Blake even wearing his Canada Goose jacket in a shop and bought bottles of Ciroc and a McDonald's. Speaking after a year of fearing the thug would target him again, he said, "If I had to start fighting back, I could have been killed. He had a knife on him and I could have been that guy. I could have been him, I could have been James." It's sad to think that James could still be here right now if he was just initially charged when he committed that first offence.
James was a 20-year-old male from the Erdington area of Birmingham. On the 8th of August, around about 7 o'clock, he was returning home from a local gym, playing with friends within the Goosemore Lane area of Erdington. Whilst hanging around that area, he was approached by two males in a BMW that pulled up alongside him. The driver being Sean Miles, the passenger being Ty Blake. James, an associate of James, had an altercation with Sean Miles in a Birmingham nightclub just a week prior, verbal altercation only. Ty Blake, on calling James across to the car, fired from close range a sawn-off shotgun, causing catastrophic injuries to James's face. They fled the scene, and we was able to track them across Birmingham from Erdington to Allen Rock, Gowan Road, where we saw both the offenders go into an address there, The police inquiry resulted in both Sean Miles and Ty Blake being identified within 48 hours of this offence. They was arrested within 5 days. Sean Miles leaving the country, and on his return he was arrested, interviewed and charged by police in relation to the offence. Ty Blake was arrested from his home address some 7 days after the offence. Police searches resulted in shotgun cartridges and the butt of a shotgun being recovered.
On his friends as well as his own family.
James was a really likeable male. He had a wide friendship circle. He's described as quiet. He would love to go out and enjoy his social life with his friends. He lived with his parents. They're extremely devastated as a result of this. Everybody was saying what a lovely male James was. He loved his sports. And that just shows in relation to him frequenting the gym on the night that he was unfortunately murdered.
Ty Blake, who pulled the trigger, and Sean Miles, who drove the men to and from the scene, were told by the judge they would have to serve a minimum of 32 years for the brutal attack. Sentencing both men at Birmingham Crown Court, Mr. Justice Martin Spencer likened the shooting of the handsome and well-loved victim to an execution. He said that it was a cold-blooded killing carried out clinically and mercilessly and planned well in advance, in revenge for a perceived sight which offended your arrogant self-esteem. Those were the words of the judge, and in a victim impact statement read to the court, Mr. Teer's mother, Jacqueline Brown, said one moment their son had been laughing and joking, looking forward to his first lad's holiday and his 21st birthday. The next she was looking at him lying on the ground, covered by a blanket. I asked to see him, but I was told I could not see his face. I had to identify him by his tracksuit and trainers. She added, "We will never forget that day, the day our life ended." One of his last social media posts read, "A smile a day keeps the haters away." The judge's voice caught with emotion as he praised Mr. Teer's family for their calm, quiet dignity throughout the harrowing evidence during trial. Ty Blake, the man who pulled the trigger in this incident and also caught that case of robbing the Canada Goose jacket, actually tried to appeal to get a reduction on his sentence of 32 years, and that failed. A third suspect, a female called Lauren, was also dragged into this case and arrested because she helped them steal the BMW that they committed this brutal offence in. I just want to finish off this video by saying a huge rest in peace to James Teer, a man who lost his life way too soon and literally was innocent in this situation. He was just guilty by association in the killer's eyes, but actually had done absolutely nothing wrong. Leave a like to support the channel and subscribe with that notification bell included if you're new. I'll see you guys all in my next video. Peace out.